Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Drop Pod. This is episode 7. Hello, Joe.
Yo.
You ready to talk some video games?
Episode 7. Jesus.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 7 months. That's over half a year, man. Half a year of talking video games.
It's like when we're coming up to the actual 2-year anniversary soon as well. That's the crazy part, but yeah. Is it really? I mean, do we even celebrate anniversaries? I mean, once we've done the year, I feel like, you know.
Yeah, well, we do the retrospect, and usually we give the channel a fresh coat of paint, but that's about it.
That's true. Yeah.
But anyway, let us jump into video game topics. First off, we kind of don't want to start on a downer, but it's unfortunate. But so unfortunately, what was it? Earlier this month, we lost a great person in the video games industry. Mr. Satoru Iwata. I can never pronounce his first name, but for those of you who do not know, he was the president, I believe, of Nintendo. And the interesting thing is, you just see sort of this corporate sort of guy. You think, oh, he's just about the the money and Nintendo and yada yada yada. But when you look in his background, like, he's responsible for a lot of stuff Nintendo wise, like Earthbound. I think he was the president of HAL Laboratories, which gave us Super Smash Brothers. And my personal favorite story is apparently he was the one responsible for putting the entire pretty much first game of Pokemon into the sequel, which to this day, man, probably one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. Because, little story here, I played through both Pokemon Gold and Silver in Japanese without knowing any Japanese.
Yeah.
So when it was revealed that, oh my god, I'm going back to the first game, that was just mind-blowing as a kid. So, and he was only 55 years old, man, and that's a real shame. Like, I don't think I've seen the industry react as much as they have to Iwata, and it just shows how much people respected the man.
I'd say it's probably the most I've seen, like, in terms of like a figure who's like, in gaming, like, people react. And, it's all been positive, and it's, like you said, man, just a legend who was in charge of a lot of stuff. And he always came across like, he was like more, he actually plays the games, he's not just a suit and a businessman. Yeah. And it's really sad when, you don't even have to be close to the guy or really know the guy. But when you see how people are reacting and stuff, it does make you feel a little bit emotional to see that, gaming has like lost such a prolific figure.
It does. Yeah, so you will be missed, but Iwata left behind a really great history, so thank you.
All those people still asking for another Earthbound, and
yeah. But let's jump topics to something more positive, or at least a little bit more hype. This past weekend, actually, from the recording of this, was EVO.
Yeah, this is your thing, man.
This is my thing. So next to E3, this is probably the one event that I most anticipated about every single year.
Right.
Because it just resonates with me, with my history in video games, which fighting games played a very large part in. So for those of you who do not know, EVO is arguably the biggest fighting game tournament of the year.
I think it is the biggest, right? It is.
Yeah, it's definitely the one where the most people from around the world come and participate, because that is where you bring your big game, your A game, like the Super Bowl of fighting games. Were you able to catch any of the matches?
I was. I'm not a big EVO guy, and it's not something I watch religiously, but because it was on pretty late in the UK, because I think it runs on like Pacific time, so I guess like like 3 or 4 in the morning when I'm like winding down or whatever, I'd put it on, and man, I caught the Tekken finals. I think, is it Tekken 7?
Tekken 7, yep.
Yeah, Tekken 7, the arcade machine, and I caught the Mortal Kombat finals as well. They were the 2 games I watched, Mortal Kombat and Tekken, because they're my favorite fighting franchises, I'd say. So
yeah.
But yeah, I caught those, man. But what about you? Is it something I missed that was epic that I just like?
I gotta say, man, I don't know what it is, but maybe I'm just getting more invested every year, and I've been watching for a while, but like I feel like this year was very emotional for a lot of the finals. Yeah, you speak about Tekken 7, like so Tekken 7's finals featured what was it? I think it was Nobi versus Ao. And the thing is, Ao, who is like really young. I remember seeing that dude just show up. I think it was either EVO or maybe MOG for a Tekken tournament, and the kid, he looks so young. Like he looked like surely he was there with a parent. That's how young he was. Yeah. And
is this
to see
the guy
him,
who came second?
It is. So to see him advance so far, especially in Tekken 7, he played really well in the finals, but he just couldn't get it done, and I felt so bad for the kid, because after the fight, man, he had trouble keeping it together.
Yeah, I did catch that. Man, it was heartbreaking watching that dude like cry as much as he did.
Yeah.
What's
crazy is even the freaking creator of Tekken had to console him, and it was just like, oh man, I feel so bad for this guy.
He got so far and did so well, but I guess that's partly why he was so emotional, I guess. But
you know, he's young. He's still got a lot of tournaments ahead of him.
Yeah,
I really hope this doesn't discourage him from continuing on, because he's a really good player.
It's just good. Like, you don't even have to be invested in the tournament, really. It's just good watching like top level players.
It is, yeah.
Just seeing how they play, man. It makes for some pretty awesome like watching.
You say that though, but I would say that this year's Melee tournament, the finals, were a little hard to watch. One of the guys competing in the finals, Hungry Box, used Jigglypuff, who is very scummy, you know, because Jigglypuff can float a lot, so it's a lot of like timer scamming and a whole bunch of stuff. It was sort of a letdown in a way, like compared to like previous EVOs. But
did the crowd like boo him?
Oh yeah, heavy. He was soaking it up. He was playing the bad guy role there.
That's one thing I noticed when I did catch like a little bit of Smash. The crowd would like boo and like start chanting like play character names and stuff for them to pick. Like still like chanting like Captain Falcon, and like the guy picked him and everyone was like
But it was interesting to see Armada, who usually is very stoic and very, you know, keeps his emotions like majorly in check. To see him pop off a bit when he won was just like that was pretty cool too. But I will say probably the most emotional or crazy moments of EVO was not only I guess Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom was pretty cool too. Kane Blue River, who won. Apparently like he's never won a tournament, or I guess maybe he never won a major tournament, so this was his first major win. So it's pretty cool that he won at EVO of all places. I think probably the most hype stuff that I saw was during Street Fighter this year. And you figure at this point, Street Fighter's been out so long that, you know, we would see it all and do it all. But what was interesting about this EVO is, especially in Street Fighter, a lot of the names that you usually see in the top 8 were not there, you know? So it was a whole bunch of new faces. There was a Jury in top 8. And I don't know if you know anything about Street Fighter, but Jury is a character that people will constantly say, you know, she has a lot of good moves, but she's just not viable for top 8. And we saw Jury, so that was pretty cool. It shows the diversity and evolution that somehow that game keeps going towards. But the thing that was amazing was the losers final, and I highly recommend anyone check it out, because it is probably some of the most hype matches. Like, it came down to a player named GamerB and Infiltration. In my opinion, Infiltration has solidified himself as one of the best, and I don't say that with hyperbole. I definitely think he's one of the best Street Fighter players in the world. To sum it up, in the losers final, it was GamerB who was trying his hardest to combat Infiltration, and it went down to the final round, which is like, I think it was best out of 3, so I can't even do the math off the top of my head, but it was a gauntlet of matches, and Infiltration chose so many different characters to counter GamerB that it was just insane. It was crazy from start to finish, and GamerB won out and immediately had to go into grand finals and play the person who won winner's bracket. And it was just insane to see him go through so much, and unfortunately he lost, and that was really sad. What was even sadder is his fiance, who was cosplaying as Ling, Xiao Yu from Tekken.
Oh, no
she
way.
came up, she was crying, she gave him a hug and everything. I was just like, oh, that's even worse. It's like seeing Ling all sad. It's like, no. but yeah, so what was crazy is too, man, so in the final round, the match starts, and the winner, Momochi, his stick malfunctions. His razor stick just gives up. right at the final round, and then they had to spend a whole bunch of time trying to find a replacement stick. And yeah, that really drained the final match out. But yeah, it was a crazy, just drama, just emotion, just pure, it was so good.
Yeah, it sounds crazy.
Just talking about it, I'm just like exhausted.
Oh,
but
man, yeah.
So EVO this year, once again, just pretty much like every other year, was just so hype. It was so great to see these people pulling out some of the best stuff that they can. And it was nice that a lot of the finals were hype as well. You know, the commentators were on point, really explaining, really getting behind the games that they're commentating. So that was really cool. So yeah, I highly recommend you guys try to find highlights or, you know, some of the finals stuff on YouTube probably, and check it out for yourself. But moving on to other hype stuff. Should we talk about maybe the newest DLC for the Talos Principle? This is your bag. So I kind of want to try to avoid as many spoilers as possible for anyone who's just, you know, who's listening to this but hasn't, you know, necessarily caught up to your videos or is playing it for themselves. So without spoiling too much, how is this DLC like compared to the game? Maybe like
it's awesome, man. It's an awesome expansion. I feel like it kind of feels like one of those old school expansion packs, you know, like just like completely new content, and it's pretty great. For starters, if you didn't really like the recorder puzzles in the Talos Principle, like a lot of people hated those like shitty recorder puzzles, myself included. They were not my favorite type of puzzle, and there's only 2 in this whole DLC. So
for those who don't know, what exactly is a recorder puzzle?
So it's like how do I explain this? It's basically like it's like a mechanic where you kind of replicate yourself to create 2 of you, and then your actions will like, you record your actions and then you stop it, and then when you stop, whatever you did just plays back in the world. So you can basically make a copy of yourself and go and do like, you know, go and stand on a switch whilst you run through the door kind of thing. It's basically just a way of kind of like kind of duplicating items and just making the puzzles like a lot more kind of like time based rather than like thinking based, if that makes sense.
So do you feel like they sort of
they've completely took all the positive things about the original and improved it like tenfold, and then they've just left out like the shitty parts. I'm like quite impressed, really, like, because, you know, 2 recorder puzzles out of like, I can't even do the math, I'd say there's like 40 sigils, so that's 40 puzzles, and yeah, man, there's like 2 recorder puzzles out of all that, and there's also no mines. I can think of like 1 puzzle which has like mines in. A lot of people complained about the mines. They're like these big spherical balls that make this loud noise when you get close to them, and then they would like start aiming for you and like blow you up, so you have to reset. And they've like just completely left all that out. But,
so the devs really listened to the community and created the DLC based on their reception to the original game.
Yeah, I was quite surprised by that as well. Like, I didn't expect them to like, I don't know, maybe they agreed when they like finished it. They thought, these recorder puzzles aren't the best. But yeah, it's I don't want to give too much away. Yeah. But there's like a section of the game in the DLC where it is purely one type of puzzle, and it's like the hardest puzzles you can imagine, but like in the most simplistic ways. Like, I can't even explain. It's like you've basically got one kind of mechanic to use, but all the puzzles are completely different from each other, and it's just stuff you've never seen before, like in the whole like game. And it's just insane, like the variety they do with like the tools they have.
So this is not necessarily just a map pack, you know, this is full-fledged, fully realized DLC.
There's like a full different narrative in there as well, which is written by the same writers who wrote the first one. And yeah, I feel like there's more story, if that's even possible, because all of the narrative is like in the terminals. It's basically like Gehenna is like a message board, and all the characters live in the message board, and you have like it's crazy. I can't even explain, man. Like, but the story is pretty deep, and it's a nice little kind of companion to the original game if you kind of wanted more of the lore and the story. Right. And I feel like they couldn't have done a better job. Like, I'm not just saying that because the Talos Principle was like one of my favorite games like ever, not just of last year. And I was really happy with it, man. The puzzles are really challenging. It's like made to be more challenging. So
do they introduce any type of new puzzles to this to the pre-existing puzzles, or like new mechanics, like or anything like that?
No new items, like, you know, they've got like the base items like the cube, the reflector and stuff like that. But the puzzles themselves are completely different. It's like the areas are a lot more open and big now. Like in the like original, it kind of felt like a lot of times you just, you know, you went into a room and you did the puzzle in that room, you know what I mean? In this, the puzzles are a lot more open and a lot bigger. And I feel like verticality comes into it as well, where like, you know, there's a lot more kind of outside open areas. And yeah, man, they've really done a good job of kind of expanding the formula, I feel. And I make it look so easy because like, especially on the part 9, I make that look so easy. I think it's like 30 minutes long, and that includes like the ending to the game in part 9. I fucking must have spent like, I can't even think, like on one puzzle, I must have spent at least an hour or 2 trying to figure it out.
So but, basically anyone who feels like they might have skimped on the difficulty of puzzles will be happy to know that they don't.
Yeah, they don't. It literally, there's no easing you in at all. It literally picks up where the last one left off. So
it pretty much assumes that you've played the original. And
yeah.
Well, okay. How does it work? So is this literally like a spin-off, or is it like a continuation without, you know, obviously spoiling anything? Can you elaborate on that?
I'd say it's a spin-off. Obviously it continues in the sense that it does follow the first game, but you don't need to have completed the first game to play this. But if you haven't played the original, I don't understand why you'd play the DLC anyway, because the challenge is literally picking up from where that one left off, you know. But it's a nice little spin-off. The story continues, gives you more of the lore, and I really like the terminal system of like interacting through that. There's like text adventures in the game. Oh,
nice.
Yeah, literally, there's loads of them.
So what are we talking? Like, you wake up in a dark room, what do you do? Those kinds of
they're the kind of text adventures you play.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's all choice based, and if you die in them, then you have to restart and everything, and you can literally spend like probably an hour or half an hour just on one, just like doing all the options, like choosing your character and stuff, because it's like completely different. It's pretty involved, man. Right. It's pretty cool, and there's some secret ones as well. So go and watch my Easter egg videos for those. But
now is that all optional, or are those necessary to continue?
Yeah, it's all optional.
Oh,
all the terminals are completely optional in the game. You don't have to read the terminals if you don't want.
So if you're like a pure gameplay person and don't really care about the narrative, you can pretty much just skip it all.
Yeah, you're gonna fucking hate my playthrough if you don't like the narrative, because it's pretty much narrative centric. I was thinking about doing like a video of just the solutions, but man, I've had such a long fucking week of like trying to get these videos done.
Oh yeah.
And I'm still finding new stuff now that the game's actually out, obviously. But yeah, man, I love the Talos Principle. It's such a good game. I recommend anybody get it. And if you don't want to get it just on my word, then go and check out my first impressions and try not to spoil yourself too much, because most of the game is just, I feel like if you're watching my videos, then you're going to go and play it. Like, don't do that. Just go and play it and then watch my videos.
It's a puzzle game, so I mean, if you watch someone do the puzzles, then it's not very fun.
And it's funny because one of the devs, he's been commenting on my videos, like telling me all the stuff I'm doing wrong, and all the stuff like I could have done differently and things like that, I guess. That's always cool. I think I know like a lot about how the game works and the mechanics and stuff. So if I want to, I can probably cheat a bunch of the puzzles, and I actually did. But in the playthrough you see me do, I try to do everything legit because I want to show like the correct way to do it. But there was like 1 or 2 puzzles which I did cheat before I actually finished, like solved them correctly, like when I was playing around with it. And I actually went back to try and figure out to do it the legit way.
In other words, you're too MLG for Talos Principle at this point.
Oh, don't say that, man, because some of those fucking puzzles took me like, I spent about half an hour on one and I figured it out, right? And then I reset it, and I thought, oh, I'll come back to it later. And I came back to do it later, and I forgot how I solved it the first time, and I spent like another hour on it trying to figure it out. That's how fucking mind fucking it is. Like, it's just crazy. It didn't help that it was like 4 in the morning, and I'd been recording all day trying to get these videos. It can proper fry your brain, man. Like,
yeah.
I feel like I should rant about recording with shadow play as well, kind of veering off into another subject here.
We could talk all day about our technical woes, and people would not understand it until they feel the same sort of dread.
Yeah, you won't even.
We do.
A lot of technical bullshit, man. But yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes when you record a game, you'll just look back at the footage and be like, wait, how did this desync so badly? You know, it's just a weird thing that we deal with. But you know, speaking of breaking games, that was gonna be my segue, but you know, so yeah, speaking of breaking games, you know, we just had EVO last week of this recording. Obviously, this coming week is going to be more game breaks with SGDQ. Summer Games Done Quick. It's
I fucking love AGDQ and SGDQ.
Yeah.
And even any speedrunning marathon, man. Like you had the European speed, is it ESA? And that was like a couple of weeks back, and man, I'm so excited. I love how it's just like...
Well, before we get into it, so anyone who doesn't know, SGDQ and AGDQ are events put on by a whole bunch of speedrunners from around the world, come together, they do speed runs for like a week, 24/7, and they do it all for charity. So, you know, people donate, they donate towards incentives for every speed run, where, you know, they'll do something special or something additional or some kind of crazy, like maybe like a glitch run. So yeah, it's an event every year where, you know, a whole bunch of speedrunners come through and show off their cool new strats or try to beat times or just, you know, have fun with other speedrunners and the community. So going back to what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I love it, man. I love how it kind of runs like 24 hours for like a whole week. You know, it's like there's always something on to watch. And I'm a big fan of speedrunning anyway, but yeah, it's literally one of my favorite events of the year. I'm glad that happens twice, actually, because it's AGDQ in January, and then there's a Summer Games Done Quick, which is one that's coming up. Yeah, and yeah, it's always cool to see, man. I love it.
I gotta say, you know, I am slowly getting into this. You know, this whole AGDQ SGDQ thing has really been building over the last couple of years. You know, getting way more attention, which is great thanks to Twitch and everything. But I gotta say, like, the more I watch it, I wouldn't say I'm less inclined to watch retro games, but I am definitely starting to lean towards more of the newer games, only because I like to see the way that they break them. Because you know, the sophistication is such on a different level. Like the Outlast speedrun was crazy, I remember, because the guy used doors. He just used doors to clip into the world to skip things. I'm just like, what? Yeah. How do you even figure that out, you know?
I know, it's crazy how they come up with some stuff, man, but
I wonder how they come up with this. I mean, obviously there's tool assists and everything, but it's just, you gotta imagine someone somewhere was just like, this door seems a little wonky, I'm just gonna walk into it and see what happens, or I don't know, but
it's like with the Talos Principle, man. Like I spent a good chunk of my time trying to figure out ways to like skip puzzles and stuff like that. And that's part of the fun for me, like just breaking the game. So I guess there's like other people out there as well who like enjoy it too and just try and figure out.
You just spend like 4 hours walking into a wall. There's got to be a crease here. There's got to be a crease.
Yeah, literally. That's like that literally sounds like a night I spent on the Talos Principle once, just trying to see if I can jump on a box from a certain part. It's just crazy, man. But
yeah. So, I mean, is there any game in particular that you're looking forward to this year?
Dude, I didn't even know it was like, I completely forgot it was happening. I've been so busy this week.
Yeah.
But, I'll have to go and read the schedule, man. I've not even checked the schedule out. I don't even know what's happening there.
Yeah, I'm just hoping, you know, for another year of great runs. You know, it seems to get better with every year. You know, they'll start to learn how to do it better and better.
Yeah, so, individual games are always good, but it's always those hype moments where some guy's doing like Punch Out blindfolded and stuff.
Yeah. I always love the incentives, because the incentives are like, I feel like the best parts of these speedrunning marathons. I mean, it's great, you know, to see people doing speed runs, especially in games that I really enjoy, but I always like to see them getting broken. Like, that is my thing. It's just I'm excited to see. I'm always excited to see Half-Life get broken, because
Half-Life's always a good one.
The back running thing is just, it blows my mind that that's a thing that was in the game and it was just never figured out, you know. So you can do
it's crazy.
But yeah, I guess those aspects are always fun, but you know, obviously the charity thing is great as well. But I'm hoping they can break records again, because I think they broke their records last year. I might be thinking of another charity, or another
I'm not sure.
thing.
It
but yeah,
kind of get confusing because they have AGDQ and SGDQ.
I'm not sure. Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but you know, they definitely do raise a lot of money every year. So you know, hats off to those guys for.
I just can't wait to have it like on like, you know, second screen experience. You know what I mean? Like 24/7.
That's a crazy thing too. Is it's 24/7, so you end up having to build your schedules around the runs that you really want to see. Like, great, the run I want to see is like at 4 a.m. So I'm gonna have to take a nap, maybe get an energy drink, and then you know. So,
it definitely keeps you longer than you should, man.
So it's it should be fun. Another year of or another time of lovely speed runs should be upon us. Should be great. I'm excited to see Boshi again, as always, with Wix. But I don't know. Anything else should
not really, I'm trying to think if there's any games coming out this month that I want to get, but I don't think there is, because Metal Gear's out in September, right? So, but
you know, I gotta be honest. When Ground Zeroes came out, I was hyped for Metal Gear, but everything since then has sort of, everything behind the scenes wise has sort of made me a lot less excited for it, just because there's so much drama and just ridiculousness or like surrounding the game. The Phantom Pain, I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna play it, obviously, but it's just, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to enjoy it as much, because chaos.
It's just all Konami's bullshit, really. That's the only.
Yeah, really. Like, Konami's really the one to blame here for really dampening my hype for the game. Like, first the Kojima stuff, the microtransaction stuff, then God knows what else they're gonna do to Metal Gear in the future.
I'm really trying not to take too much of that into account, man. I'm just kind of remember that it's a Metal Gear game and Kojima's made it, even if his name's not on the box anymore. But
well, he made it, but how much did Konami just go in and poke around and, you know, do other things to it? We don't know, you know. I don't know. Kojima's name is missing.
I don't know.
I feel like if you've spent years on a game, and then when it's about to launch, you're like, yo, name's off. Either Kojima wanted it off, or there's a reason his name is off, is what I'm trying to get at here. Whether he wanted it off or they forced it off, there's a reason it's off.
It kind of feels like Konami is the one who made him take it off, because it sounds like Kojima's really proud of this game, so he keeps saying it's like his best one yet. So if you go back in history, you know, he never said that about any other game he's made. He actually didn't like making Metal Gear 4 or Metal Gear 2. So it actually seems like it's like a return to the roots of Metal Gear. So I'm actually pretty excited, and I'm just trying to ignore all the bullshit with Konami. So we'll see, I guess.
I think I'm gonna go in apprehensive.
Anyway.
I don't know, I guess we'll turn these questions on to you lovely listeners. You know, how did you guys feel about EVO? If you guys have been playing the Talos Principle or the DLC, you know, share your thoughts. What do you think about SGDQ, AGDQ? And, you know, how do you feel about Metal Gear 5? Are you excited? Are you apprehensive? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. You know, I think in the future, you know, if we ever get a good comment, we'll probably put that in the podcast and, you know, discuss that comment or statement or concept.
I don't think we've ever had a comment.
I would love to get more community interaction here. So, you know, if you have a interesting shower thought, maybe, you know, or, you know, an appropriate shower thought, I should say. You know, leave them in the comments, and, you know, maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode. Who knows? This month we decided to just, you know, more shoot the breeze on topics, not really talk about the industry, but, you know, video games in general. So, you know, we'll probably do that again in the future. So, you know, be sure to leave your thoughts. But anyway, guess we'll leave it there for this episode of the Drop Pod. As always, thank you, Joe, for joining me. It's always a pleasure talking about video games every month.
Yep.
Thank you to everyone who has been watching or listening, either or, whatever you're doing. Thank you for being here. And
I just want to say that if you didn't see my Hotel Paradise video last week, go and watch that if you want to see me get frustrated over like 30 minutes. It's hilariously bad. But there it is.
Yes. Be sure to, actually, you know what? Be sure to check out everything, including that avalanche of content that Joe just slaved over.
If you can wave through the Talos Principle videos in the video page, then by all means try.
Yes.
But I've never played anything quite like Hotel Paradise, and it is just the stupidest video you'll probably ever see.
So yes, be sure to check out everything that you might have missed, and thank you to everyone who has continued to support our content. We always appreciate it. And until next month, we'll see you guys then for another Drop Pod episode. So thanks for watching.
See you later, guys.
Bye.